Welcome to Hover Tactics Week 1 updates. Hover Tactics is a Unity URP game in which there is a hover mech combat simulation with some strategic elements, and this game is being developed in collaboration with HomeTeam GameDev community, and the link to join this community is in the description below. Here are the additions and changes for this week. Tiago imported Text Mesh Pro or TMP. There's the UI states that he worked on, start menu, pause menu, credits, controller options. Thank you so much, Tiago. That's a lot of stuff that you have done. And there's also the UI fade transition, which is really cool. And yeah, UI is pretty much done, I believe. Will Mickey did force field shader for shields, right? We will have the shield mechanic for our hover mechs, and when a hover mech is inactive, it will have a shield enabled, and that is what he made force field shader for. And then there's also the improved explosion effect. It really looks nice. He also fixed a cursor bug. Thank you, Will. Noman improved turning and added a HoverMech 1 Platypus model along with some bug fixes. And of course, I did object pooler, shooting mechanics, raycast, projectile, HoverMech movement animation, building and mule models, HoverMech 2 model, building destroy mechanic, in-game cursor, and some bug fixes. So let's get on to the game. It's playtime and let's check it out. So here's the game. Here's the Platypus model by Noman, and here's also the Rune building by me, and there's the smoke particles. And yeah, as you can see, this is the raycast shooting. And there's also the in-game cursor, the white gradient thingy, right? And here's the building, right? And I can destroy it. And if I like hover the cursor over the building, it has different indication, right? Like, you know, the damage or enemy indication, right? And if I shoot it, right, as you can see, I'm shooting, and it takes a lot of time with the raycast, and it needs some improvement as well. And you can also see the trail at the back, and there you go, the building gets exploded. And as you can also see the beautiful animation, right? The hover is like hover mech is turning, and like it also this angle thing wherever it moves, and it moves faster when goes forward and slower when goes backward, which is really cool. So let's move on. And here's another mech. It is added by me, and I made it in Pro Builder, and it throws bombs. How cool is that? And this explosion is by Will McKay, the improved explosion, as you can see. Really cool. This white pulse, and then there's the black dots or something, I'm not sure. So now I hit it. 1, 2, 3. There you go. And it exploded. And there's the Reun building. And so yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's a fast mech. And there's also the trail pretty clear coming out of the hexagonal shape. And let's just destroy a bunch of buildings. Destroy another one. There, explosions. Oh, it's really cool. And you know, I love to just shoot the bombs. And here's another one, and yeah, it is the same platypus, but it's slower. If I go to scenes, examples, example UI, here's the UI that Tiago made. And if I play it, what is inside it? There it is. Hover Tactics. Start, controller, credits. I go credits. There's the credits. I go back. I go controller. There's the controller stuff, right? Yeah. Now I'll go back, and I can click the start game button, and there's the fade as well. See? So yeah, that's basically a very simplistic, minimalistic UI with the fade transition as well. Thank you, Tiago, for this contribution. Here's the force field shader. As you can see, it's the shield, and it only enables for inactive hover mechs. When we started developing the game, we didn't have the concrete game design plans basically, and now we have some of them. Basically, we have decided what will be the names of the hover mechs and what will be the abilities and weaknesses of them. So the first hover mech, which will also be the default mech that hopefully the player will use the most, is the Chronos, and it has medium speed and hit points, like medium-ish average. Its passive ability is that when we are using Chronos, other two hover mech, or you can say other two mechs, will have their max shield depletion rate halved, which is a good thing, which also means that you will more likely use Chronos more than other mech, right? And then there's the two abilities, the rifle gun and the laser beam. Rifle gun is basically simple. As you see, I just click and beam, a very bullet goes out of the hover mech. And then there's the special weapon laser beam, which is replacing ion cannon. Basically what it is that there will be a like Kamehameha in Goku, if you know that, right? So it blasts a beam for some seconds and then it goes off. So the weakness for the Chronos is that it is unable to destroy large buildings with the rifle gun, with the basic gun, but it can destroy with laser beam, not ion cannon. A typo or a mistake here. The Chronos cannot cross grid walls, right? It's an entity in the game, basically walls that are powered, right, and you cannot cross through them. And then there is the second hover mech, which we are calling Wavern. What it does is that it has a fast speed but less hit points. And the passive ability for this one is that when you're in a boost, it teleports. It teleports, doesn't like increases the speed, but it actually teleports. And boost will be something that all the mechs will have. Like they can increase their speed temporarily. That's what boost is. But in the case of Wavern, when you are using boost, it actually jumps from one point to the other, and that allows Wavern to pass through grid walls. So yeah, that's a cool little feature we thought of. And then it has the basic and special attack. The basic is Melter. Basically, what Melter does is that it's like a flamethrower, and it's a range-based weapon. Basically, the enemy has to be close to be able to melt the enemy or the building or whatever it is, and it has a very high damage. The weak point of this weapon is that it has a limited range. And then there's the special ability that is Portal. And what does portal means? It simply means that you add a portal at one point, and then you go to some other point and add a portal over there, right? And now the other mechs can go through the portal because they cannot teleport. So what the other mechs, basically the Chronos and the third mech, which we will talk about, they can use portal to reach to the places where only Wavern can reach. And that's the special power, the special attack of the Wavern. Wavern is more of a sneaky kind of mech, which is supposed to just make sure that the player can reach places which it cannot reach using Chronos or the third hover mech. And the weaknesses are that there will be this thing called the magnetic pumps that will attract Wavern really quickly. Like the magnetic pumps will attract the Wavern and destroy it. Boom. And the other weakness is, of course, the less hit points, which means that enemy bullets can easily destroy Wavern. Those same magnetic pumps won't be able to pull other mechs. And also the fact that both the Chronos and the other mech that we're going to talk about, right, they have a range attack. They don't have a range attack. They can attack from far, right? Whereas this mech Wavern has to go near to something to attack it because it has this melter attack weapon. And the third hover mech, no, it's a tank, right? It's a hover tank, mech tank. We are still thinking about that, whether it will be hovering or not. I think it will be more on land, and it will act like a tank. What it will have is that it will have a slow speed but high hit points. Basically, you can keep shooting at Calamity, right? That's the name of our third hover mech, which is actually a tank, right? You can keep shooting Calamity, but it won't get destroyed because it has very high hit points, and its passive ability is that it replenishes HP slowly over time, which means that it's almost a indestructible hover tank. But it's slow, and it's something that player might not like to use, but it's powerful, and that's why you will definitely use it. And then there is his basic attack, that is guided missile launcher. And then there's the special ability, which is radial boom, like boom, right? Like, radial attack, attacking 360-degree, and a wave coming out of tank. You can imagine that, right? So next week we are going for models, craters, buildings, rocks, trees, you name it, right? And then we are also going for shield mechanic, which is a work in progress right now, and boost mechanic along with item pickup, basically shield, power boost, etc. With power, when I say power up, it actually means that something that will replenish the special ability of the hover mech, right? And then there is the grid wall minimap as well, because I think we would need a minimap for sure. And then there's the rifle, machine gun for Chronos, and laser beam for Chronos, both weapons for Chronos. And sound effects like shoot rifle, building destroy, item pickup, and shield pickup. So yeah, that is all. Thank you for your contributions and for watching the updates. See you next time. Goodbye.